New home buyers, I know you have questions about insurance because we've all been there. We've all bought our first home and kind of went in not really knowing what we're doing. So that's what this video is about today, the top 10 frequently asked questions by new home buyers when it comes to insurance. So without further ado, let's get started. But before that, my name is Ryan Turbo Jackson. I am your insurance resource. And in videos like this, I like to help educate folks in the insurance realm to let them know what they're buying, what they need, break down policies as well as the language in the videos, because let's be honest, insurance is its own language, so let me help you. And yes, we are talking about new home buyers. What do you need as far as insurance is concerned? What do some of the terms mean? How are claims handled? We're going to get into that, so let's jump into the number one frequently asked question. Is it required? Short answer is yes. If you are financing your home, which most of us are, your lender will require insurance. Now, if you are purchasing with cash, then no, it is not required. Is it recommended? Absolutely, because even though it might not seem like a whole lot of money compared to other folks' home, if there is a total loss, then you're out all of your money. So might as well insure it just to make sure that we are getting protecting that asset for you. Number two, what is a premium? A premium is basically how much it costs to insure your home. How much do you have to pay annually or monthly to keep your home insured? Kind of a really fancy term for a payment. How much is your payment? Number three, how is it paid? There's a couple different ways it can be paid. It can be paid out of pocket, so either with a credit or debit card or coming directly out of a checking account. Or what most folks do when they do finance a home is it's rolled right into their mortgage. So it's paid with your mortgage, your insurance, and your taxes all escrowed together. When that's the case, your lender and I work together, because not only do they need documentation saying that you are insured or the home is going to be insured and what the premium is, but they need the proper documentation from me. I need some information from them to put on those documents. So your lender and I kind of work hand in hand to make sure that that's taken care of. And throughout the home buying process, it is a rather stressful time. So this is one thing that I can personally help you out with. Take off your plate, and your lender and I can work side by side. Number four, what is a deductible? A deductible is kind of the same, when you have your auto insurance. A deductible is how much out of pocket you have to pay before the insurance kicks in. Kind of the industry standard right now is $1,000. So, for instance, if you have a $10,000 roof claim, you would be responsible for the first $1,000, and the insurance would cut a check for the extra $9,000. There are other deductible options, but one thing you really want to be careful is the insurance company likes to see, I'm not going to say a high deductible, but like I said, $1,000 is kind of the sweet spot, and they've kind of priced that into where they would like to see folks. Some companies still offer a $500 deductible. Some of I've been seeing, especially since I'm new to this agency, a lot of policies that have been on the books for a long time still have a $250 deductible, which all the companies I work with do not no longer offer. So, are there higher ones? Yes, but it's one thing I will suggest. Reach out to your lender to see what their deductible minimums and maximums are. I have a feeling that they really don't have a minimum, but as far as a maximum, some of them are $2,500 and below. And we really wouldn't want to upset or go against their rules, because that would just slow the process down. Number five, this is a big one. What is covered? What is covered? And that's a very broad question. But to answer that, I'll kind of give you a broad answer. A home policy is broken up into specifically four parts. There's the dwelling coverage, how much it would cost to replace or rebuild the home. There is other structures coverage, which we'll get into here in a little bit. There is liability, which we will get into further here in a little bit. And there's additional living expense or loss of use coverage. And this is one that most people really don't take into consideration. But if there is a total loss, where are you going to live? So the loss of use coverage will provide coverage so that you can pay rent. So if you need another place to rent, or if you're staying in a hotel, or in even some other things, like if you have to take your laundry to the laundromat, anything because you're displaced, extra expenses that are incurred because you're not in your home. So that is huge at the time of a loss like that. So you're not paying out of pocket to rent a house, or, like I said, stay in a hotel, because we all know that can be pretty pricey. Number 6 is other structures. I get this question a lot. Most companies, they take your dwelling coverage, and they'll automatically add 10% as far as other structures are concerned. So let's say your house is $250,000 dwelling coverage. You're going to get $25,000 included in the premium to cover losses to any other structures, or any structures detached from the home. This can be a detached garage, a shed, a gazebo, fences. So it's something we can add to, but it's not something we can go lower than that 10%. Well, you might be saying, well, Ryan, there's nothing on my property that would constitute other structures coverage. Well, that's okay. That's okay, because like I said, it's already incorporated into the premium. So it's not as if you're paying for something that you're not using. But let's fast forward, and you get one of those sheds from like Menards or Home Depot. It's not something you would have to call us to have added, because you are, unless it's big and it exceeds the 10% other structures coverage that's already on your policy. But it adds a little flexibility in there, and yeah, it's something that, like I said, if you have multiple buildings or multiple things, or you have one large building that exceeds the 10%, we can add on additional coverage. But like I said, that 10% is state mandated. And before I go any further, I did forget one major coverage in a home policy is your personal property. Most companies offer a replacement cost to your personal property, which is what I highly recommend. So you're not having to worry about any depreciated values or anything like that. So yeah, personal property is a huge coverage, and I did unfortunately miss that, so I do apologize. What is liability? What is liability? The minimum liability coverage you can have on a home policy is $100,000. A standard policy goes up to $1 million. I normally quote at $500,000 for a number of reasons. Just because it's like $3 or $4 a year difference between the $100,000 as compared to the $500,000, and you're getting 5 times as much coverage. But what is it? Anytime you hear liability, think lawsuit. The liability on both your home and auto is coverage for lawsuits, and that'll cover your legal fees as well as any settlements by the judge. So, and we all know this is a very sue-happy society, and lawyers aren't getting less expensive. They're not getting cheaper to use. So this is liability is one of the cheapest yet most powerful coverages you can ever have. Now, in other videos, I'll talk about umbrella coverages, which is excess liability. But yeah, that is another topic for another video. But yeah, rule of thumb: anytime you see the word liability, think lawsuit. All right, I know I kind of use some abbreviations here. RC versus MV. This is replacement cost versus market value. And this is the question I get the most. You might be saying, well, Ryan, why didn't you put that at 1? Well, I wanted to make sure that I thoroughly explained before I got to this, so we kind of have a little meat on the bones here. But replacement cost. Replacement cost and that's 98% of the homes that I write have replacement cost. And most of the time when it comes to lenders, they're going to require replacement cost. Replacement cost coverage on the dwelling. So really, what does that mean? What does that mean? Well, if, again, God forbid there's a total loss to your home, especially guaranteed replacement cost, it's going to put the house back just the way it was. As we've seen lately, the price of materials and the price of labor has increased substantially. So if you do have a policy that's older and you do have guaranteed replacement cost, that's awesome. That's awesome. But for a new purchase, replacement cost is, again, let's use the hypothetical, $250,000 is what, and I guess I should back up. How do we get replacement cost? Well, every company has a replacement cost estimator, and I enter features about the house: the year it was built, the square footage, how many bathrooms, does it have a garage, does it have a basement. Take all of the very special things that make your house very awesome, and we put it into their calculator, and it tells us, how much material it would cost, labor would cost, and the big one is, if there is a total loss, someone's got to come clean up all that debris and everything and get the site ready for the new construction. So that is also included in the replacement cost. Now, where it differs is the MV is market value. You're saying, Ryan, I'm buying this house for $150,000. Why do I need $250,000 worth of coverage? Well, the market value says it's worth $150,000, but to completely rebuild it is going to cost a whole lot more. So, and this is something that I get into conversations with lenders as well, but it is the most confusing thing when it comes to a new home purchase. Is I'm buying the home for $150,000. Why on earth do I need $250,000 worth of coverage? Simply because if we did insure it for $150,000, you wouldn't get a whole home rebuilt. I mean, that's the plain and simple answer. So yes, there is differences between replacement cost and market value. So kind of keep that in mind as you go through this process, and by all means, there will be differences between the replacement cost and market value. 9 times out of 10, the market value or the replacement cost sometimes is double what the market value is. So kind of keep that in mind as you are going through this process. Another question I get is, will my policy cover costs to hire a handyman? Excuse me. And the answer is no. No, not unless there's a claim situation, which we'll get into claims here in the last little bit here. But as far as a handyman, and maybe I'm thinking way completely different. When I think handyman, I think someone to come put a new floor down, or to replace some light fixtures, or do some little odds and ends around the house that either you're not comfortable doing or don't have the skills to do. And the main difference, or the main hang up, is a lot of people like to think that a home policy is a maintenance policy, where it's not. Your home policy is if something happens, I'm not going to say catastrophic, but larger than you can afford. So, which is where the deductible comes in. So, even if you are having your bathroom updated or your kitchen updated, which again, that's something you'd want to get a hold of your agent, because it would be in your best interest to have us adjust the replacement cost, because you are updating things, you are making your house more valuable, and it would cost more to get it back to that state. So yeah, maybe I'm thinking of handyman incorrectly, so please let me know. But as far as any repairs to the home go, your home policy is not a repair policy. So no, there would not be any coverage for a handyman. And last but not least, how do claims work? And this is something that's very, very agency and company specific. But moreover, there are some very common things between all of the companies. So I'm going to speak directly just from my experience. So if there is a claim situation, you call your agent, and your agent will file a claim, and they'll get all the information, as detailed as we can get. And while this process is going on, it's your responsibility to kind of help mitigate the situation. So if there's a leaky roof, if possible, get up there and put a tarp on it, so no further damage to personal property or anything below the leak can occur. But normally, at least the companies I work with, they have a pretty rapid response when it comes to claims. So that really doesn't happen unless there is a swarm of them all at once, which here in this area we've seen here here lately. So, but yeah, your agent will work with the adjuster. They will send an adjuster out to do an inspection and kind of deem what's been done, or the damage that's been done, take photos, and then give their report, and then ultimately a check will be cut for the repairs, or like I said, God forbid, a total rebuild. And so yeah, claims can be a pain in the butt because it kind of is an inconvenience for everybody. But as your agent, they should help mitigate that process and make it as easy as possible. So yeah, that is the top 10 insurance questions by new home buyers. So I'm assuming that if you're at this point in your journey, you've already gotten your pre-approval, you've already got your realtor on board. If not, that is something that I can help you with your insurance, but I can put you in touch with some real rock stars around here if you are in need for anything as far as lending or lending options or real estate options. So please let me know. Or if you really would like to get in contact with me to get a quote, you can. My phone number and email are all right here. Follow me on Facebook. I do these videos every week, but this one is special because I am recording it. And I probably should have mentioned this in the beginning, but this is the first in a series. The next video will be a second-time home buyer, whether you're increasing the size, kind of moving out of that first home into a larger home, or if you're purchasing a seasonal home. So keep an eye out for that video, and I will see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Happy home buying, and don't really have a good way to wrap that up. So I will see you on the next one.